Dear students, let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 27th October 2016. The first article is related to Hindutva judgment of Justice Verma. Now, this Hindutva judgment has to be read along with Section 123 of the Representation of Peoples Act and secularism. Now, secularism in India is not identical to the Western secularism, where the state and religion are totally separated from each other. But however, with regard to the important practices of democracy such as elections, we also have separated the religion and elections. When Representation of Peoples Act was enacted, the law minister then, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, has clearly stated that the religion has to be separated from all aspects of the elections. Then only elections will be free from the unnecessary interferences. So it means that the secularism can be protected if elections or votes are not being asked or gathered on the religion, caste, or race basis. So, Section 123, subclause 3, it declares that if any individual uses the religion, caste, or creed to appeal for the votes from the voters, it is a corrupt practice. So, in this Hindutva judgment, Justice Verma led bench, it has clearly stated that Hinduism, Hindutva, it is not a religion, but it is a way of life. So, by not defining it as a religion, it has toned itself, it has aligned itself to the RSS argument that Hinduism is more about a way of life, a civilization, rather than a religion. So, it means any rightist political party which is stressing on Hindutva or Hinduration or Hindu religion as an identity is being eliminated from the scope of Section 123, subclause 3 of Representation of Peoples Act. In this famous judgment in Prabhu case, who was then the Maharashtra, that is Bombay mayor, has led to many untoward consequences and hate speeches being flourishing all around. So, in this context, before the Supreme Court, and another case has been come up now, in which use of saints in the religious saints for electoral campaigning, does it come under the Section 123, subclause 3 of the Representation of People Act? And the Supreme Court denied to review its earlier judgment. So, in this scenario, the author argues that it is a missed opportunity for India now. So the next is running to stand still. It is about ease of doing business index. The World Bank every year publishes ease of doing business index. The target of our Prime Minister Modi is to improve India's position to less than 50 ranks in this ease of doing business index. So it means you want to remove the bureaucratic bottlenecks, infrastructure bottlenecks, complex rules, and simplify the legal procedures and provide for better environment for investment destination to make India an investment destination. But however, if you see the ease of doing business index this year, India has reached to 130th position from the previous 131st position. Now, Pakistan, Kazakhstan, these have made better improvements than India. What are the reasons over here? Now, if you see, ranking is a relative position. It means if other countries outperform us, obviously we will be falling back. And the second thing is, India's improvement is majorly based on improvising tax payments. Next is trade liberalization and also facilitating online trade and electricity connections. Now it has been reduced to 45 days to get an electricity connection and enforcement of the contracts. If any business has to sustain, enforcement of the contracts is critical. Though India's ranking is not much improved on this front, but establishment of the commercial codes has led to some change. So, but however, there are three bottlenecks still remain. The one is the business intervention of the government or excessive interference of the government in the functioning of the business in the country, and failure to simplify the land acquisition for the business, and added to that retrospective taxation. So these three issues need to be addressed for India. Now, if you see the bankruptcy code bill, if it has been passed by the parliament, And once the GST mechanism has been established, which are said to be two major reforms on financial front, can improve the India's position on ease of doing business index. With regard to the bankruptcy law, India is going to solve its exit problem. In Economic Survey 2015-16, if you observe, India has a Chakravyuh challenge. What is this Chakravyuh challenge? Establishing a business in India is easier rather than moving out of the business. So that's why, as moving out is difficult, the good money goes after the bad money in the business. It means that you have invested some 100 crores and you are making losses, but you will not be in a position to shut down that particular business because of the rigid labor laws and multiple departments which are involved in the closing of this business. This is what is called exit problem. This exit problem need to be addressed for improving the India's position on ease of doing business index. The terror returns to Quetta. Now, in Quetta, in Balochistan, so the police training academy was attacked by the terrorists. And the important aspect of this, Islamic State, along with the local terror group, has claimed the responsibility. So, Islamic State appears to be making inroads into Pakistan. Though it do not have an institutional network, it appears that it has sympathizers in Pakistan. And this particular attack is very significant for the Pakistan from the economic perspective. There is China-Pakistan economic corridor from Xinjiang province to the Gwadar, Kashgar in Xinjiang province to Gwadar. It is ending very much into the Balochistan province, and the peace and stability in Balochistan is critical for ensuring economic viability of this project. China is always concerned about the peace and stability in this particular region. That is the reason why when India tried to internationalize the Balochistan issue, it has led to more worry in China rather than in Pakistan. Now let's get into the next article. Now, crime and candidates. In the case of United States of America, there is a great racial debate which involved in all the elections. Now, in this scenario, America is going through a turbulent phase. If you see the 1960s and 70s, the Vietnam War, racial conflict, civil rights movement, these were dominated. Now, today, again, the violence against the African Americans is the greatest threat for the racial division in this particular country. So, if you take the police system in the United States of America, one is there is local governments which are the charge of this police system. So it means the mayor will appoint the police officer. So the local politics will also play with regard to the functioning of the police over there. And second thing is the sensitivity, or else as multiracial country, the sensitivity of the police to various cultural practices, ways of life is critical for better policing in United States. And the third thing is, as the number of police are getting killed on street violence, and the trigger happy police are also increasing. It means the police, they are more instinctively opening the firing on the African Americans, which has led to the movement called Black Lives Matter too. So in this case, certain important interventions have occurred in United States of America, especially in Newark Police Department (NYPD). Now let's understand what is this broken window phenomenon. Now, why the Delhi metro is so clean compared to the other places in Delhi? When I ask this question, I get the answer from this broken window phenomenon. If one window pane is broken, there is a good chance that all the other window panes also gets broken very soon. So, similarly, if some person throws the waste at some place, the waste gets accumulated over there, and everyone feels free to do the same. So, in this context, NYPD, what it has been done is, it has focused on petty crimes at early ages of the people. Because of that, they are prevented from taking up of the bigger crimes at a later date. And the second is, they started CompuStat, or computer statistics, it means. So in this, the crime hotspots will be detected, and the police activity will be increased in these crime hotspots. And because of this, there is a swift action from the police as and when necessary. And another thing is, USA gun culture is the major reason for the growth in homicide and crime statistics over there. And it is also a politically sensitive issue where the Republicans support the gun culture. Now, if you take the lobbying of the National Rifle Association is the reason why the gun culture was unable to cut down in US. Mr. President Obama, when he got into the office, he did his best to cut down the National Rifle Association to its level. But however, he failed due to the strong Republican support for the same. And bringing or else this gun culture down can improve the law and order situation in that country a lot. So these are the things. And again, the sensitivity of the police appears to be weak in many southern states. If you talk about Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi, where the slavery was dominant before, even today the police force is trigger happy. And along with that, there is frisk and check or stop and frisk at will. So because of this, if your statistics have been observed, most of the police they are more involved with African Americans. It means that there is a there is a racial prejudice against this stop and frisk operations conducted by the police. Sensitizing the police to gender, sensitizing them to the human rights, cultural prescriptions, that is very critical for police functioning anywhere. And it is also in the case of India, especially sensitizing the police to the Dalits and their concerns, to the gender, to the rights of the people is necessary in India too. From that perspective, I try to take this article. Now, coming to India, New Zealand. New Zealand Prime Minister Mr. John Key is on a visit to India. Now, the New Zealand is very significant to India. The reason is it is a hardliner with regard to the non-proliferation treaty, and it is a hardliner with regard to nuclear disarmament. It means that in NSG, the New Zealand prescribes that only the NPT signatory shall be its members. Now, India is not a nuclear non-proliferation treaty member because it sees NPT as a discriminatory treaty. Now, what is NPT, etc., you need to study. So, in this case, not being an NPT treaty signatory, New Zealand is not supporting the India's entry into NSG. So, in this scenario, India has requested the New Zealand to support India's entry into NSG as it is critical for its clean energy goals. Because under the climate change deal, India's INDCs involve a huge targets for the future. So it means that India has to pursue its clean energy goals, and NSG's entry can help India to do the same. And the second thing is, India also gets a chance to influence the NSG discussions from inside. And the second thing is, the China, it is opposing for any of India's specific change in protocol in NSG. Now, when George Bush was the president of US, India specific safeguards and NSG waiver was brought into India. Now, these are all the technical jargon. So, NSG waiver means normally now nuclear suppliers group is a cartel, and it shall not supply the nuclear material to any country or nuclear technology to any country which is a non-signatory of NPT. India, though non-signatory, it is going to get that. That is what is called NSG waiver. And the second thing is, the NSG functions on unanimous basis. Even one member opposes that, the NSG cannot make a decision. In this case, China is a staunch opponent of India's entry into NSG. The reason being is it wants standards for the new members or standards to be prescribed for the new members to enter into NSG. And it is equating India with Pakistan. So this the Pakistan centric approach of China is a hurdle for India's entry into NSG. So, coming to the other things, civilian border postings ruffle army brass. It is additional DGs are being created to supervise the infrastructure projects in Northern and Eastern Command. And army claims that these decisions are made without in consultation with the army leadership. So these are the articles. Next, the Man Booker Prize. The US writer Paul Beatty, he has got the Man Booker Prize for his book, The Sellout, which is a humor filled book describing the racial discrimination in the United States of America. And it is the first United States author who got this award. Now, the Cyrus Mistry cites constant interference by Ratan Tata. So, in this case, I want you to talk about corporate governance in India. It can be a case study for your, or it may not be a direct thing, but an example of this sort can be a case study for you in the case of your paper 4. So that's why what are the corporate governance norms in India and what are how they are being guided, try to look into that. So these are the things for today. Thank you very much. Yesterday I was unable to prepare the notes because my mentorship discussion went till 9 o'clock. So I was unable to complete that. So today I will try to give you the notes. Thank you very much and all the best.